I think the biggest thing that we emphasized was cash flow, and was being able to take if there was an opportunity during the year to sell corn ahead of time and show a profit, we usually would take that. Remember, we weren't using options at the time, and for a small operator to work with futures, some of us could, and some of us had maybe a wife that didn't care about margin calls. And if you valued your marriage and your wife didn't like margin calls, you avoided them. So we didn't have quite the marketing flexibility that we have today, but we still had forward contracts that we could do. There was usually opportunities during the spring to capture the carry in the market, maybe that if you had some grain you'd held over the winter, but also to sell that year's crop into the next year. But cash flow was the real king. And the other thing that a lot of us learned a lesson on was variable rate loans. Of course, anybody that dealt with land bank knew what they had variable rate loans. But they not only had variable rate loans, is that they would also come back and try to get more equity, and they'd squeeze the growers that way. And some of the people that were squeezed out during that time, if they'd worked with them, could have made it through. Some of us that had got ourselves a little better established, weren't relying on rented land, were able to refinance conventionally and pay land bank off. And those of us that did that never went back to land bank afterwards, even though we bought land at times afterwards. And of course, the 80s was some of the best opportunities to buy land for some time. And that is actually where we are right now. This farm we bought in 1985, which the actual prices went down a little bit after that too. But when something is close to home, you buy it when you can, you don't wait for somebody else to buy it and then wish you had. And I think anybody, and I know I experienced it when I got out of college, I was broke. Didn't have anything, and so just to get started, well, you had to run a tight ship, and the 80s really emphasized the run a tight ship. And things that are considered luxuries today, we wouldn't have even thought of spending on then. And I'd say the biggest thing in our success was my wife was a part of all of this, and she did not work off the place, but she sure worked to keep us all going, and ran that side of it very well. And I'd say a young fellow today, if his wife is not supportive of farming, forget it. Do something else. It's not worth it. Some of it was a natural thing going on, where some neighbors were ready to retire anyway and got out. I had some friends that went ahead and gave up some land, but I had others that actually just battened the hatch down and rode it through. So many of us were in it together. We didn't really discuss each other's businesses. I never revealed my situation to my neighbors, and I never expected them to me, and I never asked personal questions about it.